Hindu-majority India and Muslim-majority Pakistan. The division tore communities apart. It was the biggest forced migration in history, as millions of Muslims and Hindus, who were to be left in the wrong country, so to speak, moved to where they'd be in the majority. The partition was bathed in death and tragedy, and we'll be looking back at it on this programme next week. More on that shortly. But thousands of those who chose to remain, Hindus in Pakistan, Muslims in India, are still living with the consequences of that separation. They're deemed enemies of the nation and their properties seized. Our South Asia correspondent, Justin Rowlatt, has met one Indian man who spent the last 40 years fighting to save his inheritance.
I'm Muhammad Amir Muhammad Khan, known as Sulaiman to family and friends, the Raja of Mahmudabad. I'm from a Muslim family which once ruled a very large feudal estate, including a beautiful palace called the Qila of Mahmudabad, in which we still live. But the Indian government is laying claim to my property, saying that it is enemy property. No one is paying for it, so these days everything is crumbling. This dispute goes back to 1947, the partition of India into two states, a Muslim majority state called Pakistan and a Hindu majority state of India. It was estimated that 1 million people died, 10 million people were displaced. Some Muslims went to the state of Pakistan. Many Hindus came to India. It was not just the country that was divided. Families were divided too. In the late 50s, my father took Pakistani nationality, and that is when my family's problems began. Because when India and Pakistan went to war in 1965, the government laid claim to our properties. There was an act of parliament called the Enemy Property Act, which empowered the government to take over temporarily the properties of Pakistanis. It was not just our family which was affected. Thousands of families were affected. The properties are worth billions of dollars. But our issue is that only my father took Pakistani nationality. I have always been an Indian. My mother was always an Indian. We had to fight our case from the lowest to the highest court, and in every court we won. And the Supreme Court judge said that by no stretch of imagination could I be considered an enemy, and considered me the heir to my father's properties. But then the government went and changed the laws, and the battle has begun again. I suppose, like so many people in India and Pakistan, we're still caught up in the repercussions of partition and the acrimonious relations between India and Pakistan. In a way, I've been forced to live in the past. And with apologies to Yeats, I feel as if I'm drowning in a beauty that has long since faded from this earth.
Doesn't that make you want to take a trip to India? That report was produced by Justin Rowlatt. Now, as I said earlier, next Tuesday